Thanks for joining us. Before we get started, be sure to follow our YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below.
Welcome to another Lunch and Learn presentation by TransOptions. Today's program will be Winter Walking Safety. My name is Dennis Kelleher, and I'm a program specialist here at TransOptions. Today we're going to bring up a number of points that you should consider when you're going to go out walking during winter weather. When you're planning your walk, you want to take certain things into consideration, including you want to try a walk during daylight hours when there's good visibility. You want other people, including motorists, to be able to see you when you're walking on, near, or across roadways. Before you start your walk, you want to try to advise someone of your plan, including time frame, how long you're going to be gone, and the route you're going to take, and any areas you're going to stop at, such as I'll be out for a walk for the next hour and 15 minutes. Plan to go down Main Street, and we'll stop at the bank and the post office, and then I'll be back. The other thing you should do before you start your walk is monitor your weather forecast. When you're planning your walk, you should consider asking someone to accompany you. It's better to have two people out walking together than it is to walk alone. It's easier for motorists to see you, and it's just a safer condition to be walking with somebody. Before you go out and walk, we want you to prepare. You want to dress appropriately for the weather conditions. If it's snowing or very cold, you want to bundle up. If it's raining, you might want to put on rain gear. So you want to dress for the weather. You also want to wear non-slip footwear. Comfortable shoes are important with some sort of grip on the bottom. You may need them during times when you have slush or snow on the ground. Just remember that even non-slip footwear really doesn't provide much assistance when walking on ice. You need to avoid walking on ice. You also, when you dress, you want to dress to be visible. When you're out walking, if you're going to be crossing streets or walking along the side of the roadway, you want motorists to be able to see you from a long distance away so they can move away, prepare to slow down and stop if necessary. You also want to, when you wear clothes, you don't want to obstruct your senses. You want to be able to see and hear around you. Some of the other things you want to bring is consider bringing a cell phone in case there is an emergency or you need to contact someone for assistance while you're on your walk. During daylight hours, you want to bring sunglasses if necessary. During the winter months when we have snow and ice on the ground, we do have a condition known as snow glare, where bright sunshine will reflect off the ground, off the snow, off ice, and make it difficult to see. The other thing you want to do is have a flashlight readily available if you're going to be walking and it starts getting dark out. Although we want you to bring a cell phone with you when you're walking, we don't want you necessarily using the cell phone. The reason for this is it diverts your attention from walking safely. You're visually distracted if you're looking down at your phone. You're hearing distracted or auditory distraction if you're listening to your phone, either listening to music or a video or talking to somebody on the phone. And you're mentally distracted if you're paying attention to your electronic device instead of where you're going. Also, if you're utilizing the cell phone, you generally tend to look forward towards the phone, which will shift your center of gravity. If you start to trip or slip while you're walking, your center of gravity will be pointed forward and you're more likely to fall. When you're out walking, we want you to use your sensory organs to maintain awareness of your surroundings. We want you to use your sight to keep an eye on where you're going. During the winter months, we have freeze and thaw sessions where the roadway develops potholes, sidewalks can raise and get cracked, and other hazards can appear. You need to be watching out for those. Pedestrians also are expected to be watching for traffic control devices, such as pedestrian crossing signals. We also want to be able to hear vehicles coming and going. Today, the new hybrid type vehicles are extremely quiet when they're running. In a lot of cases, you can't even hear them approaching. The other thing is that generally speaking, as we get older, our hearing deteriorates and we may be less likely to hear vehicles coming up behind us. If we put on covers over our ears, or we put in any type of earbud to listen to our electronic devices, that diminishes our hearing further and makes it unsafe. And we also want to be mentally aware of where we're going, where we are, and our surroundings. When we're out walking, if there's slush or snow on the ground, one of the things to consider is walking like a penguin. That is specifically with your arms extended out from your sides to try to keep balance, walking with your knees slightly bent and loose, and in other words, walking similar to the way a penguin walks. This is considered important for safety reasons. Also, when you're out walking, for better balance, you want to try to keep your hands out of your pockets. I know the tendency is for people to keep their hands in their pockets to keep their hands warm, but you're better off wearing gloves or mittens and keeping your hands readily available. In the event that you trip or slip, you can utilize your hands to try to balance yourself, and if you do fall, your hands and arms can lessen the impact, hopefully. The other thing we recommend as far as your hands go is you want to try to avoid carrying objects and packages in your hands. Again, your hands may be needed if you slip or trip. If you're carrying something such as a shopping bag, if the lady's carrying a purse or a satchel or anything of that nature in your hands, including a cell phone, your hands are occupied. If you trip and fall, you may not be able to utilize your hands to stop the impact when you do fall. So we recommend when you're out walking that you not carry objects or packages. When using stairwells, either going up or coming down, it's recommended that you use the available handrails. In the event that you trip or slip on a slippery substance, you can utilize the handrail to maintain your balance. When you're out walking and there are sidewalks available, you should always utilize the sidewalks as long as it's safe to do so. In the event that you're in an area that doesn't have sidewalks, or that sidewalks are inaccessible and you do need to walk in the roadway, you should always walk facing traffic. That's the safest way to walk. Walk along the edge of the roadway if you have to, and always walk facing traffic. That is required in the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Code for safety reasons. The other thing we recommend is, like we always recommend, is always use crosswalks if they're available. If they're not available, you should cross at an intersection, not cross in the middle of the block if possible. In New Jersey, drivers are supposed to be looking for pedestrians at intersections and in crosswalks. And under New Jersey law, when there is a pedestrian in the crosswalk, the motorists are required by law to stop and remain stopped until the pedestrian crosses the street. This is not always the case. Motorists don't always follow the law. So as a pedestrian, we want to pay special attention when we're crossing the street. We want to let the motorists know it's our intent to cross the street, be in the crosswalk, and we want to look at drivers before we start crossing the street to make sure they are allowing us to cross. And as we're utilizing the crosswalk to cross the street, we want to pay attention to our surroundings and make sure that all drivers are in fact stopping for us and it's safe to continue doing so. Also, when you're out walking about and ground is either ice or snow covered, you want to watch your step. There may be hidden objects or ledges or steps below the snow that you don't readily see. So you want to be especially careful when out and about and walking on snow-covered ground. There may be cracks in the ground, there may be steps, there may be ramps, and in some cases there may even be ledges that you don't want to step on. The other thing we recommend is when you're out walking about, you always want to take a moment to look up. What tends to happen is in the trees and the wires and overhead signs and even on buildings, during the winter months, ice may form after a rain, sleet, or a snowstorm. The droplets that are on the wires or on the trees form icicles. When the weather starts to warm up or the sun comes out, those icicles tend to fall down. And as we're walking around, we don't want to be struck by those very heavy objects, such as tree branches and or icicles that may be falling. So always pay attention to your surroundings, including look up from time to time to make sure there's no hazards above that may fall down. And as always, we want you to be safe. We want you to slow down and watch out for ice. Remember, ultimately, it is your determination based on the factors around you as to when, how, and if it's safe to, in fact, go out and go for a walk. Walking is generally considered a healthy activity. However, you must take responsibility for your own decisions, and you must base it on all the facts that we've just brought out. This presentation was brought to you by Trans Options as a public safety message. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and also give us a thumbs up. Thank you and be safe.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with the latest Trans Options video content. We'll see you next time.